Jesus, the Son of God, is coming to the city of God. Right? The Jews and the Christians to come, and everybody else considered Jerusalem the city of God. And Jesus was coming there. He was, at least the people there thought he was a prophet. Many of them thought he was the Messiah. Not everyone knew he was the Son of God, but he comes in. How does he come in? Does he come in the Rolls Royce? Does he come in the limousine or the Pope Mobile or anything like that? No, he comes in on a donkey. And who does he come to? Is he met and greeted by the mayor of Jerusalem? Is he met and greeted by Herod or Pontius Pilate or the chief priest Caiaphas? No, those guys come up later. He meets them much later and for much less happy reasons. But when he comes into town, the people who greet him not with ticker tape parades, not with confetti, not with billboards and keys to the city, but by tearing off their coats and throwing them on the ground in front of him. By ripping the branches off the trees that were nearby and waving them like crazy. They didn't have any of the foam fingers or anything like that. They threw their cloaks on the ground and waved the trees. They tore the branches off the trees. They were so excited. But you know what? Something that I think we never talk about? Why do you think they did all that? Because they didn't have anything else. They had the clothes on their backs and the trees that surrounded them, and they found a way to celebrate that the King was coming. You see, Jesus came to the regular folks, to the poor folks, to the folks that weren't of high station. That's who Jesus came to. And on this Palm Sunday, it's important for us to remember that many of those same people, that all of those people there, would have considered themselves just a face in the crowd. They weren't anybody important. They weren't anybody influential. But they were regular Joes or Samuels or Jewish names. I'm coming up on a blank. Moses's. They were regular folks, and they were there to welcome the King of Kings. This is the way that God came into the city, and they rejoiced and they had a good time, and then they kind of dispersed. Right, went back to their homes. And then they followed on the news, or in the news that was in the shops, right? If they went to the market, they would have heard, hey, did you hear that Jesus guy? The one that you all waving your branches around for and throwing your cloaks on the ground? Yeah, he just knocked over a bunch of tables in the temple and was hitting people with whips and things. And imagine what they thought about that. Some of them might have been happy about it. They said, yes, finally, but others were thinking, oh no, what have we done? We've gotten ourselves in with this guy. And then they heard later, hey, we've heard that the scribes and the Pharisees and the chief priests want him arrested. They've decided they can't handle this guy anymore. They're going to arrest him. And then they hear that he's been arrested and his disciples have been scattered, and then that he's been condemned to death. But these same people that were a face in the crowd as Jesus rode triumphantly into Jerusalem, were also the same faces in the crowd, in the courtyard, when Pontius Pilate presented Jesus and Barabbas. They were the same ones that were shouting, Hosanna, were also shouting, release to us the murderer, Barabbas. The same ones that were saying, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord, were the same ones who were whipped into a frenzy by the chief priests and the scribes to say, crucify him. And they were the same ones that were in the crowd that mocked and jeered as Jesus, having been beaten and with the crown of thorns, hauled his cross through the streets of the city of God. The strange dichotomy, the strange oppositional nature of Palm Sunday is that we cannot separate one from the other. Those same people were in both places, in all places, and we find ourselves at all of those places. We all love to be there and to celebrate when Jesus comes into the city. We love to be there at the garden tomb on Easter Sunday morning. But we are also there on Good Friday. We're also there when Jesus is put to trial and condemned to death. And it's all because we're there not because we can somehow go back in time, but we're there because the sin that Jesus came to redeem, we have a share in that. We're a part of why Jesus came to die. We're a part of why He gave up His life. And so, I encourage you to remember that. To remember that one of the faces in the crowd is yours. One of the faces in the crowd is mine. But remember that the heart of the one who rode into town humble on a donkey and who hung on the cross and said, "Forgive them, for they know not what they do," is the one who loves each and every one of us and has come to save us.